up for you? Can somebody confirm?
Yes, we can see.
Great, thank you. Or getting to technology called, I'm using the word loosely, it's a technology. It's hard to define whether AI is a technology or ML is a technology or Gen AI is a technology because this is the combination of everything. We will define what exactly technology in the context of generative AI and especially machine learning and deep learning. Please understand, please understand, one of the first questions that we always get is, hey, you're talking about some subject that seems to be having a lot of mathematics. So do I have to have a complete mathematics? Do I have to have an intermediate mathematics or a graduation level mathematics? How good should I be at mathematics? Or am I supposed to be from the computer science background? Or do I have to have statistics or some amount of mathematical skills or mathematics as a skill before I get into the course? Yes, those were the days earlier. Now, as you know, that there are many iterations of Gen AI and machine learning, deep learning have happened. We don't have to really worry about any mathematics or statistics as such because we don't have to go into a detailed calculation at all. There are programs, there are classes, there are functions we use using a programming language known as a Python. So we just call and use those functions and get the job done. We don't do any manual calculation anywhere at all. So that does give us an assurance that we don't really have to know a lot about mathematics. If you're good at the 10th class mathematics just to understand a few concepts, we're all good. And coming about the CS background programming skills, as you know, Python is a programming language. This is not as tough as any other language. This is just like a spoken English language. As we speak, we write. So there is no huge difference between the spoken language versus a Python as a programming language. By the way, we don't use any Python as a full stack programmer, but we just use it half of the Python to get the things done because this stream Gen AI has a combination of Python, statistics, mathematics, pre-built libraries, open source libraries, all of them come together as a single package. So we don't even go to the very depth of the Python as a programming language. If you understand what are the variables, we don't even have to go to the level of oops concept as such. But if we understand these basics, we are good enough. Even though we will start right from what exactly is Python all about, we'll cover core concepts of Python before getting into the class, just to be set the field clear that we don't really get into the depth of the Python. Then the question that surmounts all of us is, what exactly do you think AI is? Let's pretty single simple says it's not just you and I who are going to talk about anything, chit chat anything about. No, it's just not us. Like your mobile phone, like your Alexa. Now you can talk to your television, you can talk to your mobile phone, you can talk to your washing machine, you can talk to any device, you can talk to your car. So any device that is given the capability of communicating with humans, probably in most of the cases, using human kind of a language as natural as a human language, as freely as you and I talk, as freely as we talk to any other person. If we can talk to any computer device or any compute device, that's all what we are saying is an artificial intelligence. See, you and I, we have an intelligence by birth. We understand what is correct, what is not correct, which is good, which is not good. How about a computer? You go and ask the computer anything. Do you think it's going to answer back to you and talk to you again in English and understand the topic, the context? Is that possible? Exactly. We are trying to make every dumb device an intelligent one. How much intelligent? Intelligent enough to talk to us. Why do we need to talk to us? So that we don't have to operate, sit there and press buttons, right? You do your work and you just talk to it. You tell your washing machine to go for a second round or increase the speed, decrease the RPM, or choose for a jeans a different style. How about that? So, sitting in one place or nowhere, yet communicating to any device so that it does its activity just like we talk to our colleagues. So, it also powers the AI, powers the smart assistants, self driving cars. The most important thing is using
So there is an audio issue.
technology.
Yeah.
Okay, am I not audible?
No, no, it's breaking sometime in between.
I say, just bear with me for a quick second. Let me
Yeah.
switch
Yeah.
my internet. Sorry, it's raining heavy here. Now, is it any better?
Yeah, it's better now.
All right, sorry about it. I don't know, it's untimely raining. So the AI powers the smart assistants, self-driving cars, and the most important thing is it solves the real-time business problems. That's why every company is trying to jump onto this bandwagon called AI, because it's not only solving a human-to-human problem, it's not only solving human and a computer problem, but it is also solving huge scale business problems very rapidly. That's why everybody is interested to get into this thing. So how do I start my career in AI? What should I do that? If AI is going to sweep away the whole market, whole industry, where do I start? How do I go about? We will start with the important skills, learning which a person can get into a web development side or analysis side, which is a part of a department of data science. And you can get into automation engineering or AI, ML side of engineering. And if you learn machine learning, not just the Python, if you learn machine learning, a person get into career and roles like ML engineer, data scientist, research scientist, and applied machine learning developer. Then, if we go on and learn what exactly we're going to learn in machine learning, say machines are devices that do not have intelligence, right? So, we will find out how many ways we can import intelligence into these devices. They are called as supervised, unsupervised, and some kind of an algorithms. It's a process of teaching any device about intelligence. That's what we're going to learn in detail. And then we have something called deep learning. So we begin with Python. We understand the basics of Python. From Python, we understand how do we really talk to devices like machines, what kind of algorithms can we use, what kind of programs we can write to talk to them. And once we get into the machine learning, there is a area where we will not be able to achieve anything more with machine learning. That's where we will get into a higher context called deep learning, where we will be utilizing all of the human kind of skills, just like how a human brain works. Similar kind of a technology we would try to use on a device, just like giving a brain to a device, and then we will ask it to become just like a child. How a child learns in the by birth, he looks around, he watches around, he talks to people, he tries to communicate, and then he learns, he equips himself, he calibrates himself. So we will apply all of the human related technologies into the computer or to the machines, and this process is called deep learning. So we will get into deep learning. How deep? The imager itself talks about it. We go to the very deep depth of the understanding and functionality of a human networking system. See, this is how the crisscross would. So if you learn deep learning, we talked about Python. If you have Python, you can get into web development, data analytics, stuff like that. But if you learn machine learning with Python, you can get into various career paths. Then coming to deep learning, where can I go if I learn deep learning? So do I have to learn deep learning separately? No, these are all layers. We begin the first layer, ground layer with Python. Then we build a layer on the top of that called as a machine learning. Then we graduate into higher layer, which is called as a deep learning. And as a deep learning expert, you can get into deep learning engineering, a computer vision like a drone creation, an NLP engineer, or one can become a research scientist. After that, after the three layers that we talked about, saying Python, machine learning, deep learning, then comes the advancement of all of these known as generative AI, simply our ChatGPT or BERT kind of a tool, where we will learn how to create, how to talk, how to get answers from devices by using absolutely natural language. May that be Hindi, may that be English, may that be any other language. That concept is called generative AI. We can use for creating images, we can use a chatbots. You know, all of you are aware about, I think, on deep fake technologies, right? Especially we can use these technologies for drug discovery, the pharmacy industry. Right now, when you look at in the recent statistics, the market seems to be a 200 billion market for AI. We are right in the beginning. Everybody is now starting understanding. It's just not us who are learning the codes, but even corporates, they started realizing the benefit of Gen AI. That's why you see Gen AI opportunities everywhere. So this is the right moment to get on to this field. So what we will learn, how do we go, what are the salaries, you all know about it. I don't want to go into the detail. So what do we do here? How do we really build our career for AI? Can I join one course and will I be AI smart enough? No, there are various layers. As of all of us know, experience does matter. So just to give you the real-time experience kind of a situation or scenario, we will learn concepts, we'll work on projects, and we'll create a GitHub portfolio again, and then we will move on from there. So what exactly we gonna learn and how we gonna learn? What are the tools that we will be using in this program? Do I have to purchase a new computer? Do I have to purchase a modern laptop or Mac? No. All I need is a browser. If you have a good computer, a reasonable computer with a good browser, preferably Google Colab or Google Chrome, that's more than sufficient. However, during our course, we would also be learning on all of these so-called browsers or IDEs on how to program. Then we will learn Python. During the Python language, we will learn Python, some algorithms, some open algorithms called as scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is an important library for the data science. If you can master this one library, you can be a machine learning engineer, one can become a deep learning engineer, one can become a Gen AI engineer or an LLM expert. These are all interchangeably used terms. All, all we have to do is just to practice, learn one important library called scikit-learn. So we will learn scikit-learn. Then if time permits, we'll touch about Facebook's PyTorch, which is another library to learn. So how do we begin our journey? So data science is all about handling data. So we need to understand what exactly data in terms of the AI, in terms of generative AI, ML, DL. So how do we collect the data? How do we manipulate the data? What are the softwares that we will use to manage the data? Then once you have the data, we need to convert the data into numbers. And after converting the data into numbers, we need to see the data as a chart or a graph. So we will use those functionalities. Again, the core concepts of Python. Once we understand how we visualize the data, we understand what kind of a data types to be used and how do I visualize the data. We'll talk about data structures. These are the some of the libraries which we will be learning. They are known as NumPy, Matplotlib, Pandas. These are the softwares which we will use day in and day out to manage the data what we have. We'll just talk about OOPS concept, then some of the advanced concept of Python. File handling is an important area in data science because we'll be dealing with the data. Data is obviously stored in files. So different kinds of files, how do we open, write back to those files is what we learn. Then eventually we'll get into the machine learning side. Now, as we talked about a machine learning, we will understand how many types of machine learnings we have, what are the various algorithms that we have in machine learning. These are the algorithms we'll be talking about. We don't have to necessarily go through all of them. I'll pick and choose the important algorithms that are very important for interview point of view, and then we will go on from there. So we'll learn the theory, we'll do a practice along with the theory, we will work on the projects, then we will get on to a next layer called deep learning. This is where we will understand what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning. How does the deep learning really work? And what are the other concepts of deep learning? Here, we'll be learning about important concepts like forward networks, convolution networks, recurrent networks. These are various architectures to process the data faster. Just like if I ask you a question, hey, can you tell me, any one of you tell me your best childhood friend, maybe in the class 5, class 4, or something? Would you be able to recollect a name for me? That shouldn't be that difficult, isn't it? Just like how quickly we can recollect a childhood memory. Do you think if you want to search anything in Google, would you be able to do it so fast? No. You search something in a Google, it tells you that, look, I have like 1,500 pages. Go ahead and search in every page. How about a human being? You ask a question, you ask a childhood friend, instantaneously we can tell the name of the friend. How do we do that? How is that even possible? They are possible using certain mechanisms the human brain adapts. Those are the mechanisms that we will learn, and the various names that are given to understand the human mechanism are listed here as CNN, RNN, LSTM, GRU, stuff like that. Then eventually, as we talked about, we'll get into the final layer, which is the Gen AI. So we'll understand what exactly Gen AI, why business is so crazy about it, what kind of a business problems are solved by Gen AI, again, various algorithms in Gen AI that we have to learn, the frameworks. What are the various frameworks that we use to learn Gen AI? There are different frameworks that I will walk you through, something like a Hugging Face, something like a Stable Diffusion, and then we will get into tools for processing the data, and then we will understand the differences between AI, ML, DL, Gen AI. Then we will come into a concept called, everybody talks about, large language models, or LLM. The ChatGPT in everything that you use every day in and day out, the working engine behind them is an LLM. So what exactly is an LLM? How does it work? What are the various features of LLMs? What are the important architectures that we have in the Gen AI, which are the upcoming models? What is a multimodal LLM? And then we will understand the architecture of LLM. We'll peel apart each LLM layer by layer. We'll go through the fundamental structure, how LLM was created, what exactly comes together to make something called as an LLM. We'll understand the technical architecture. Then how do we use this on a daily basis for corporate purposes? And there is always a question about human. Does AI take over human? How do we do that? The ethical values, we will see that. But this may not make sense totally unless we understand this from a business problem. So just to understand all of the concepts together, we'll take case studies to understand. Let's say a business is losing customers. How do we solve the problem? They approach us saying that, look, I'm losing customers. They're not coming to my shop, or they're not coming to my business, or they're not purchasing my product. Now, looking at the problem, we have to think, should I use a machine learning approach? Should I use a deep learning approach? Should I go to Gen AI approach? If I take any of these approaches, what are the various tools that I have to use to address the business problem? Similarly, we'll take another example as a marketing recommendation systems. Then in the financial side, if there is a financial institution, some of you may be interested in the finance side or financial roles. If there's a fraud happens, how do we find the fraud? Credit card fraud, banking transactions fraud. In the manufacturing side, document analysis side, customer support side, equipment manufacturing side. The most important used, healthcare. We can predict any diseases. We can predict lung cancer, brain tumor, breast cancer, close to 5 years before they even appear pathological in a person. They can be identified 5 years even before they appear in the body. How do we find a cancer? There are a lot of tests that we conduct for cancer identification. Some of them are blood tests, some of them are marker tests, some of them are the scanning technology, radiology test. Even before all of this, we can still find a person can get a cancer or not just by using an algorithm in certain way. So hospitals use these algorithms to find skin lesions, skin cancers, lung cancers, brain cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, stomach cancer. There's something called mouth cancer. Okay, so we can use these technologies. Hospitals use these technologies very heavily. Financial institutions use these technologies to predict stock, the up and downfall of the stock, and scan the documents. So retail industry uses these technologies for customer segmentation. Who are the premier customers? Who are the normal customers? And we can use a computer vision, for example, Tesla car. It uses one of the learning methodologies that we will be learning, which is a computer vision. Then manufacturing side. We take one of the case studies of the manufacturing side, automotive side. You tell me which is the industry that AI has not gone in, right? From the airlines to entertainment, AI has penetrated every possible business segment, including the real estate. In the current jobs that we have in the market, I don't have to talk about it. But what really becomes important is, well, where do you get the data? You are saying data. We are talking about not one page of a data, not one Excel sheet of a data, but tons and tons of a data, probably gigabytes. And in the real time, we'll be working with much more higher than that amount of data. So for learning, where do I get the data? So I've given you the various sources from where we can get data. This is the repository, or these are the places where data is created exclusively for data science enthusiasts and practitioners. We can go ahead and collect data from various sources, download them, practice them, and then use them. Now, what are the topics that we will be covering? Just bear with me for a quick second, please. Some of this got closed up. Here we go. So I just want to walk you through the topics that we'll cover. Again, as stated earlier, we'll begin with Python. Not only learning a concept, you'll be given a practice or exercise so you can work hand in hand. So the class would be a combination of a theory and practical both. They go hand in hand together. So we'll be covering a topic and an assignment will be given to you so that you understand a concept thoroughly. So we'll start with Python. We understand the fundamentals of Python. Then we get into machine learning. We understand what exactly the topics we'll be talking about in machine learning, like supervised, unsupervised. How do we process the data? What do we mean by linear regression? What exactly is a classification problem? How do I deal a customer segmentation, a classification problem? Then there is an approach, an algorithm called decision trees, random forest, clustering, dimensionality reduction, which are very important in a day-to-day business activity of a data scientist. So we learn these algorithms, then we will do mini projects using the topics that we have covered so that you understand the topic in totality till that level that we cover the topics we can understand by developing mini projects. And then we will get into a deep learning. Deep learning, as I said, uses very advanced technologies, what we call as a neural network. So here we will be using TensorFlow, which is again a product of Google. We can use Python and TensorFlow to get into the advanced section by doing a practice on a lot of projects along with the data sets. The data that I talked about, we typically call that piece of a data as a data set. So we'll be working on a lot of data sets like a Titanic, like breast cancer, lung cancer, core fraud detection, customer journey, and then we'll do many projects on the deep learning. Then we will get into the beautiful world of generative AI. The name itself is so beautiful that it has a word called generative. What we have been doing all those years, if you have a question, if I have a question about anything, I go to Google, I type in Google, and Google gets me maybe 1,000 pages or a lakh of pages saying, you asked for a word, I found the word in this many number of pages. Go ahead and find your answer. Does it tell you which is the best page to go? No, probably it ranks the pages, but it doesn't give me the exact answer, accurate answer. That's boring, right? Who's going to browse through thousands of pages or multiple pages? Who has the time? Then how do I deal the problem? For example, if I go to Google and ask Google, hey Google, I want a picture, Google, which is like I'm sitting on a beachside, eating tomato on the top of tomato with an ice cream, um, with some kind of a snacks, while it should be raining on the one side of my chair, other side it should be sunny, and temperature should be around 25 or 23, something like that. Get me a picture like this. Do you think you'll be able to find a picture like this in Google? No, you cannot. But come to GenAI, that is a custom made solution software. You ask it what you want, it will not fetch like Google. Instead, it will create the solution for you instantaneously. That means no more fetching, no more pre-feeding. It is generating every solution for every problem right at that moment. Hence the name generative AI. So we can generate images, we can generate data, we can generate programs, we can generate solutions. Okay, so we will understand what are the image generating solutions, how does the customer bot work, how do people use ChatGPT, how to create GPT kind of a softwares, and how do we use something called RAG, which is a very advanced concept of the Gen AI, which is known as retrieval augmented generation. LLMs have a limitation. How to come out of that limitation is by using an approach called RAG. So we will combine LLM plus RAG to make it the penultimate tool for business. Then we will understand more advanced tools like Hugging Face transformers and fine tuning LLMs. Then we will do most of the projects doing on how do I create a project for writing a resume? How do I create solutions? So we will develop a lot of solutions as part of our learning. And then we finally do one project to ensure that you have every tool that you require in hand with the practice even before hitting the floor for um, interview. And apart from this, each topic, at the end of the topic, we would also be conducting an interview on the topic so that we will fetch the questions which were asked in the recent interviews. We will also review the answers to see how was the question proposed and how should it be answered. What is the right way of answering a question? So per topic, we will choose the topics and then we will practice interview questions after the completion of each topic. That will not only give you theoretical understanding, pragmatic experience, plus the interview approach. So you'll have questions, you'll have answers, you know how to respond to the questions, and you become whole prepared. So I stop here to see if you have any questions for me.
So what is agentic AI? So is that will be covered in this?
Yeah,
Good.
AI is actually known as a generative AI, which is the third layer. So we'll start from Python, machine learning, deep learning, and cover generative AI, Rajesh.
Okay. So is there any difference between agentic AI and GenAI? Or
No,
agentic AI is a part of GenAI?
no. Generative AI, advanced section of generative AI is known as agentic AI, where
Okay.
we provide solutions with the software. Instead of humans doing the work, that work would be done by agents. So agents will replace kind of a human kind of a roles, and they perform a certain, for example, if you have an antivirus on your computer, right, where do you get your definitions of antivirus? From some central server. So the agent on your computer is known as agentic. So there is an agentic AI. There are many models of agentic AI, which we will cover at the end of this section, Rajesh.
Okay. So do we create some chatbots or something?
A lot, not one or two, a lot,
Okay. Okay.
lot many chatbots.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question for me?
So
Like,
do we need to install pre Python Anaconda? What are the installations required from tomorrow? So can you uh, brief it early so that we can install it on our machines?
Yes. Rather than getting into installation from day one, the approach we will use, Rajesh, is we will use a tool called Google Colab. Let me try to bring up the tool for you. Bear with me, quick second. Oh, okay, it's not still coming up. I think. So let's go to a browser, preferably Google Chrome. Then we will search for Google Colab, and we go to a tool called Google Colab. We'll go to this page, and then we will click on New Notebook. This is the tool we will be using day in and day out. Throughout the course, we will be able to use this tool. This is a free tool given by Google for every enthusiast in data science, generative AI, and stuff like that. Even the agentic AI, all of that stuff also we can practice here. All software, what we need has been already installed here. For example, you have a button here which says click connect. The moment you click on connect, this browser would, let's say, connect to one of the virtual machines in Google Data Center, and Google will give us a virtual machine free of cost. So using that virtual machine, we can work. In that virtual machine, all required software are pre-installed. You see here the drop down button, click on that, and you see here view resources, you will see that we are given about 13 GB of RAM and close to 110 or 100 GB of disk free of cost. So we don't have to install any software to begin with. We will start working with this as a tool for learning, and as we graduate into a week or week and a half, then we will start downloading each software. I will provide the information which tool is vital, because if you download, let's say, Anaconda, PyCharm, VS, the system would be fully busy because the software, some of them is memory hungry, some of the software is CPU hungry. So it is better that we actually start with a browser based, understand what all we can do without working or worrying about any installation, uninstallation. Then gradually we will go on to the other tools, right? For example, are you able to see my other IDE, or are you still seeing Chrome?
So we can see the PyCharm
Right,
ID.
great. Let's say I have, let's see if this works. Let's say I wanna, one of the applications that we will be creating is this is an application, similar kind of applications. We will be creating tons of all of these applications that you see above, or created during various sections or various classes. Okay. Now, see, this is an example application that we create using generative AI. I want to modify my resume. What do I do that? How do I modify my resume? How good is my resume? Just go pick up any resume. I have some sample resume. Let's pick up some sample resume, and let me go to Naukri, and let me find some job here. Bear with me. Okay, there's some job here. I'll go and I'll try to find job description. So I copy the job description, just copying some part of that. Now I'm going back to the tool that we built. I'm pasting the job description, what they have given. I'm pressing enter. And you see above running icon, that means the application is processing behind the screen. Now, as we give it a minute, this application will understand what is written in my resume, what is the requirement given by each job. Then it will tell the information at how much my resume is compatible for the given job description. Do I have to modify my resume to meet the given job requirement? If that is the case, it will also modify the resume. It will rewrite the resume using the tools that we built, and then it will give us an option to download it as a doc or a PDF. We can also create a few more buttons to upload again to Naukri or post a job or LinkedIn. So we'll be building applications like this. I think it was Rajesh who asked the question. So this is how we do on a real-time basis, sir. We'll build a lot of applications, um, and then we use the solutions like this. Okay, sorry, I'm taking time. Any other question that I can answer for you? There are many applications, many applications. For example, let's say this is another application. This is an application where a customer wanted us to build. This is a real-time project. I'm saying that a customer wanted to build some kind of an application for them across the state. Okay, so this application, we create first a proof of concept, POC, and then we demo it to the customer. We ask the customer whether all of the features and functionalities are available or not, and then I can go ahead. So this is for a school that they wanted us to build. So I can provide anything, let's say 7th, and it's a state syllabus. And the question number is 23. And I can pick up a question, let's say, then I have to scan this, whatever is written here, I have to do a kind of a OCR in a real time. So I can pick and choose any models. All of these are the models that we build. I can choose any model that I want, and then I can process the image. Now that would be converted into a text. This would be stored automatically into a database. Whenever a student has a question, see, all of that is now converted into a text. So this is how we build applications, and a student can go and ask any question about uh, what is math in math. Okay, so whatever it finds the answer, it gives the answer, and it tells where did it picked up the answer. It was a part and parcel of the chapter the students have. So this algorithm will go back and identify the books right from the pre-primary up to whatever class that I've wrote the logic for. It will go and search each class and identify which class, which subject has this term, and will get back the answer with the confirmation that it bought the subject from so and so subject, so and so class, and it will display the information. So these are various tools that, and I can see all of the history that was queried. I can correct answers. I can reevaluate the answers. Teachers can upload tools and language, various language. If there are kids, then I've given pronunciation training. So people can train the students in all of the class material. Whatever we talked about RAG earlier, this is how I build a RAG. So everything is built inside this thing. And then this is the initial screen that we saw. So we'll be building tons and tons and tons of applications like this during the course, which will help us. This is a real-time activity. I'm doing it for a first commercial customer, right? I'm sorry, this is how we build applications. Sorry, again, I took time. I apologize. Any other question that I can answer for you? Sorry, I
Funny,
think in
how
between,
long is the
please
course
go ahead,
and
sir.
funny, how long is the course?
The course would be about 60 days, close to.
Okay. Then how many hours are we intended to put in a week?
Yeah, so all
So,
of that.
yeah, let me answer this one, sir. So the classes would be on regular basis from Monday to Friday. 1 hour session would be there.
Okay. Then what about the practical sessions? Those will be given to us separately?
That itself in the session, Pani sir will give you. And the
Okay.
assignments he will assign you, then you have to work on and get back to other day with the update.
Understood.
Apologize. I'm sorry. Yeah. The very learning pattern itself is not a purely theory based. We learn while coding, while doing it. So the class is a combination of theory along with the practical that you work along with me from day one.
Okay. Understood. Thank you, Funny.
You're welcome, sir.
Any more queries? Oh, Kamal, Mahesh, Shrini, and Bhavshya.
So yeah, so Rajendra, this Mahesh.
Hi,
So it
Mahesh.
looks like coding is like a mandatory skill, especially the Python, right? So somebody
Yes, sir.
who doesn't have any coding background, how difficult it is to catch up and